should know, and then they go in professional mode. Oh, well, this is so and so from XYZ Debt Collection Agency, and I'm calling to collect the debt from you, things of that nature. So you've got to be a little savvy. You got to be smart enough not to get caught in that game. If you're not trying to talk to this debt collector, you've got to be really smart about those things. So make sure that you are aware of what they can do, what you can do, what your rights are into those things. All right, so let's take a pause for the calls right quick. We want to take a pause and do a couple of shout outs. So I got a shout out. You already know. I got a King to shout out. So Cheryl King, yes, one of my cousins, Cheryl King, she celebrated a birthday. So happy birthday to you, Cheryl. I got a shout out Harris Franklin. Harris Franklin celebrates a birthday, so happy birthday to you, Harris. We go to the same church, you guys. So Living Purpose Church in Aurora, Illinois. If you are in the area, stop by Living Purpose Church. And yes, so that's Harris Franklin. Danae Graves. Danae Graves celebrated her birthday. Can't say enough about this young lady. Happy birthday to you, Danae Graves. And Jeff Lewis, one of my frat brothers. We also went to high school together. So happy birthday to you, Jeff Lewis. Not getting older, man, just getting better. That's for sure. All right. So let's jump into let me do the we're halfway through the show. Let me do the question of the day today. So the question of the day is actually a general question. It's just something that popped up. It's not the first or the last time. It's kind of something that's relatively common. I hear it all the time from people, and that is, how fast can I get my credit up? Now, that's a loaded question, and I hear it all the time. I see it in forums and all that kind of stuff. How fast can I get my credit up? And like most answers when it comes to credit, and actually you don't hear that a lot from me, but it depends. It depends. It absolutely depends. It depends on where you're starting. It depends on what the issue is with you. It depends on what your resources are to handle those issues as well. So there's no definitive answer to say how fast it's going to take. And part of the reason I even want to bring this up, because I was disturbed a little bit by some claims that I saw when I was in this forum. Now, I don't get in a whole bunch of credit forums. All of my names are credit related, so people should have some sense that, hey, this is a credit person, or at least purports himself to be a credit person. So I don't get into a lot of forums and give a lot of advice that's not asked of me. But I saw some disturbing answers and to some questions in a couple of forums, and even some guarantees that were given by people that claim to repair credit. People saying, "Yep, 30 days, I can get your credit done. Send me $500. 45 days, we'll get your credit done. You'll be able to afford, or you'll be able to be approved for that house." I'm telling you right now, if you see those claims, run. You need to run fast, turn the opposite way, do a 380, and go the other way, because nobody can guarantee that, especially without looking at your credit first. Not all credit is created equal. If you got a 585, that's a different way to get you to 700, to get you 750 than it is if you have a 685. And I'm not saying that one is necessarily easier or harder than the other. The closer you get to that goal, to that threshold of meeting excellence at 750, it may be even harder to get those last 20 points, to get those last 10 points than it was for when you came back from 555 on your credit report. So when you had a 555, it may have been a little bit easier. You had a lot of stuff on there to work with, something that I can work with, something I can dispute, something I can get taken off your credit report. But when you've done so many good things, you've climbed from that 555, and now you're at 725. To get that next 25 points to get to 750 may be a little more difficult, just because you're at that threshold. You've done all of the positive things that you can do to reach that threshold. So I want to make sure that you guys know there's no guarantees out there. There's no guarantee that, I can't say if we do this, it's going to equate to 13 points additional to your credit report. Now, what I can say is, generally speaking, yes, if you move this particular item from your credit report, you're going to see positive things happening for you. Positive things are definitely going to happen for you when it comes to your credit score. Your credit score is going to go up. Now there are simulations out there. There's software to say, hey, if you do this, you'll get this kind of result, and they may be relatively accurate. But as we all know, you listen to the show, that there are a whole bunch of different factors that come into your credit score, and not just those 5 factors that we talk about all the time. There are other factors. You have other kinds of scores. Yes, there's a such thing as a car score. So if you're going to look for a car, that number is going to be different than if you're looking for a personal loan. Yes, there is a mortgage score. So they have put emphasis on different things. So if you're going to look for a mortgage, that mortgage number, FICO number that you have, is going to be not drastically, but it'll be different than what your car number is. If you've never been late on your mortgage, you've had 2 or 3 homes, they've always been fine, you've held them for 7 years like the average is, and then you moved on to another home, that's totally different if you had a car. Way back in the day, you had one repossessed. The current car you got, you've missed 2 payments. So that score could be totally different simply because you have treated those kinds of accounts, those types of accounts differently. So then those scores can be different for you guys. So yes, that was a tangent on how fast can it get done, but there's no real way to say how fast can it get done for you. So it all depends on where you are. If you got somebody that's telling you that they can get it done fast for you and they haven't looked at your individual specific situation, then I'm going to tell you to run. Do a 180-degree turn and run the other way, because there's no way that they can absolutely do that. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't be confident in their skills. They could very well be confident in their skill set, how they know how to navigate this credit world. They can be that, but they can't guarantee you for each and every person, because each and every one of you guys are different. You may fit in a particular category. You may be a person that needs to reestablish credit. You may be a person that needs to establish credit. You may need to be you may be a person that have had some credit issues recently. You may be a person that has filed bankruptcy in the last 5 years or so. Those are different ways, and there's different ways to navigate those things when it comes to credit restoration. So, you got questions. You need some answers for those questions. You need credit restoration. You know what you're going to do. You're going to contact me, 800@creditscoreman.com, 800@creditscoreman.com. Contact me there or text me. Text me, especially on the weekend. I got the show going, all that stuff. Text me. You can text me at 312-600-5855. During the week, you can text or call that number. But get on my schedule. Let's talk. Let's talk about your situation, and let's get it moving in the right direction. The beginning of the year is coming. The new year is coming. You want to get your credit right. There's a lot of things that are going in to get your finances right as well. So if you're doing finances, you're doing savings, you're doing budgeting, credit definitely needs to be one of those things, because it can save you money. I told you guys before, you want to increase your credit score so you can lower the interest rates that you make, and that's going to save you money at the end of the day. So I'm going to get off that particular soapbox. So thank all the people that call in for that question, that email me about that question, and all the people in all the forums that I've ever looked into at all that talk about how fast can you get it done. And then I want to thank the other credit repair people as well that are out there saying, hey, I can guarantee I can get it done for 30 to 45 days. You're setting yourself up for failure, and you're setting up your clients for disappointment when it comes to that. So I just want to caution you guys on that. So look, let's jump back into this whole debt collections. What can they do and whatnot? Oh, you know what? I haven't done enough shout outs. Let me do these other shout outs so I don't hold them all to the end of the show. 10 Gray. 10 Gray celebrates his birthday. Happy birthday, 10. Vanessa James, yes, Minister Vanessa James, she celebrates her birthday. James Harris, also one of my frat brothers. Yo to you, James Harris, happy birthday. Nicole Emery celebrates her birthday. Happy birthday, Nicole. Kendall Owens celebrates her birthday. I think it's coming up. I don't think it's happening yet. So happy birthday to you, Kendall. That's also one of my cousins, you guys. Galen White. Happy birthday to you, my man. Keep doing big things with your big self. Galen White, and LaShawn Bolden. I think I've known this woman since kindergarten. So she's got to be one of my longest friends. So happy birthday to you, LaShawn Bolden, as well. All right. So let's just go jump back into this debt collection thing. So, all right, debt collectors can call your employer to verify your employment status. So they can give them a call just to see if you actually work there. And if they're doing that, though, oftentimes the reason they're doing it is one, before you tell them that they can't, call you at work or what have you, so they can get a number to call you at work. But then after that, if they have to sue you or if they have to garnish your wages, they need to know where you work at. They want to know where you work at. So they can go ahead and they can call and ask for that, but they can't give them any information. They can't tell them about your debt. They can't even tell them that they're calling because of a debt issue at all. They can't tell them any of that information, but they can call your employer to verify the status of your employment there. Debt collectors can sue you, like I just said. So they can sue you. So if you say, don't call me anymore, and then they can only send you letters, then they send you letters, and you don't respond to any of those letters, then they could sue you. So they could sue you. Part of them collecting that information from you, it's all headed up to this whole suing thing. So if they called your employer to verify you work there and whatnot, then they might be heading toward the suit portion of this. So yes, they can sue you for the amount that you supposedly owe. Here's the thing: if you get sued, make sure you respond. Make sure you respond. Make sure you show up in court. If you don't, they're going to get a default judgment on you. So it could be, and a lot of people say, they're suing me for $2,500. I only borrowed $1,200. How do I owe them $2,500? If you don't go to court when they sue you, the judge is going to say, okay, they owe you $2,500, and that's what you're going to pay. Now, if you go to court and you say, I only owe them $1,200, whether you can approve it or not, you can convince the judge you only owe them $1,200. The other side, the people that are suing you, have to say, oh, well, they borrowed so-and-so. Here's the interest. Here's the fees for this and the fees for that. And we charged them, $90 for mail over the last 3 years trying to collect on them. Then the judge can say, man, they're not paying all that. They'll pay what you owe, and that's $1,200. And then maybe I throw you another $100 for your inconvenience and your collection activity. But if you don't show up, then you're going to get a judgment for $2,500. Now, if you don't pay your judgment, then what happens? So you can make arrangements with most places. You can make arrangements and they'll take payments from you. If it's been extremely testy, they may decide, nah, we're not taking payments from you. We want it all up front. And then you have an issue there, but they can garnish your wages. Again, back to them calling your employer to make sure that you work there. So they can garnish your wages in certain instances. I don't know if they can garnish your wages if you owe them $200, but if you owe them $8,000, I'm sure they can probably garnish your wages. So they'll be looking to do that. They can take money from your bank accounts. Yes, they can take money from your bank accounts. In certain instances, they can't, but some places, yes, they can take money from your bank accounts, and they can take your property. So I'm not saying if you're with Sprint, though, you get with Sprint sues you, and you owe them, I don't care, you owe them $4,400. They can't come take your car because you owe them $4,400. Sprint has nothing to do with your car, correct? But say it was your car. Say you did you paid your car off, but then you did a title loan. And so now technically they own the title to that vehicle. You don't pay them, they could come get your vehicle as well. So you want to make sure if you do get sued that you go to court. Make sure you go to court to mitigate your circumstances, I guess, if you will. Make sure you go to court. So they can't do some of these things too. So always know your rights, though. So debt collectors cannot threaten to sue you if they don't really intend on suing you. So if they say it, and it's not like a testy person on the phone that you've ticked off and now they're just going to throw it out there. But if they say they're going to sue you, then they need to be moving in that direction. So you know that it's coming if they say that. Typically, you know that it's coming. They can't lie to you. They're not supposed to be able to lie to you. They're not supposed to be able to deceive you in any manner. So here's my suggestion to you. Write everything down. Whoever calls you, get their name. They got a badge number or whatever it is, get that number as well. They always say that they're listening or they're recording. In your state, you got to look and see if you're a two-party state. That means you need to give consent as the person recording, and the other person needs to give consent that yes, you can record this conversation. Make sure you can, do that.